Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Just Enough to Suffer. We are here following a miraculous, is the only word I have at this exact moment in time, a miraculous 16-9 victory for the New York Jets over the Denver Broncos. The Jets are now 5-2. Quick little stat for you from Paul Eston, big time Jets Twitter guy. I follow him. He's awesome. Teams that have started 5-2 since 1990 have a 76% chance to make the playoffs.
That's pretty good.
So, as we discussed last week, the expectations I think are a little bit different for this team now. But we're going to get into the game. Lots to build on. As a team coming out of this game. This was a nice come back to earth game for this team. But Greg, let me get your initial thoughts. Big win. 5-2 is the most important thing, and we're going to get into it.
Yeah, I think coming out with a win against Denver with the way that Zach Wilson played today was huge. And to win the turnover battle the way that they did, and really just, I mean, how many times have we seen this exact scenario show up with the backup QB coming in and there's a little extra juice in the stadium and the guy comes in and he lights us up for like 250 and 3 touchdowns. And outside of that first drive, I mean, they really didn't do anything offensively, the Broncos. It just shut them down. On offense, it's tough. It was just bad, I think, all around with injuries and the line play. And even when Zach had time to throw, couldn't make the throws he needed to. It was a very, very humbling game to go from scoring, 40 against Miami, 27 against Green Bay. We could pretty much do whatever we wanted against those two teams. And then you play, still a good team in Denver, still a good defense in Denver, but I mean, they couldn't get anything going outside of that Breece Hall run. And anytime they kind of did start getting things going.
They didn't even try to get anything going, by the way.
Well, and even when they did, there was a fucking penalty that set the whole drive back, which was infuriating. I mean, on a day today, like you're alluding to, where it's very clear that Zach didn't have it today. And they were trying to manufacture touches. And it seemed like whenever they did that and they got down the field, it was a holding penalty or a false start or, a laundry list of things where it set the offense back. And with the personnel that we had on the field at those points, we were just cooked.
Yep. Listen, we really missed Elijah Moore today. I'm going to be really honest about that. I think those plays to Braxton Berrios, the fucking Jeff Smith targets, like, it's very clear that Elijah has a role in this team and he was missed today, but he can be on the field. He can get as open as he wants when he does get open. It doesn't matter if the quarterback can't deliver a good pass. I think he probably threw 2 good passes today. He had 26 pass attempts. I want to say 2 of them were actually good. It was a really bad day. And in the beginning of the game, I thought it was maybe he was just too hyped up. I know his parents were there. I think his girlfriend was there. Like, they were all like in the building. So I'm sure that had him extra hyped up, but everything was sailing. Everything it was either sailing or behind the guy every single time. Garrett Wilson had a couple balls today that probably should have been first downs with yards to go that ended up being he has to contort his body to catch the ball because it's behind him. So at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. The Jets won today, so we'll come back next week. We'll come back next week and try to be better, but you're 100% right. The penalties need to be fixed. They just seem undisciplined every week. Part of me is, I want to be refs are against us, fuck everybody, it doesn't matter. But there's a lot of things that they do on a week-to-week basis that are just undisciplined, like mental mistakes. I think Dwayne Brown had a couple really bad penalties today. Nate Herbig had a bad penalty on the offensive line. The roughing the passer that got called, I think it was in the second quarter, was just a bad play. Like, they're just making mistakes, and they need to clean that stuff up for sure.
It was your boy.
Excuse me?
It was your boy. That was a tough one.
Yeah, that was a bad play by Vinny Curry. He also made an excellent play on the second down earlier in the game. You remember that?
I remember.
He's good, man. And the other thing I want to say,
he makes like 3 plays a game, and they're like big plays, and then he's just never heard from again.
Well, he only plays like 15 snaps a game. You know what I mean? And I'm fine. Like, I really don't care. That's kind of what they want to do. And that feeds into my other point I wanted to say. I think the Broncos noticed something, I think probably on tape and took it into the game, was we can't handle the pace because of all of our rotations. We looked really tired when they got in pace early in the game. We couldn't get off the field because the defensive line was just exhausted. There was no pass rush there. So I'm interested to see how they respond to that. If there's anyone who's going to take advantage of a mistake that a team is making, it's Bill Belichick next week. So
you also have to keep into account too that it is Denver, and for a team that doesn't play regularly in that type of altitude, that is a real. I'm not making an
100%.
excuse. I'm just saying that's a real thing.
No, I that's not even what I mean. I just mean it seems like the pace worked against us, and people are gonna emulate that. That's more. So, yeah, there's a couple. Those are kind of the main takeaways for me. I'm looking forward to hearing from Salah after the game. I desperately need to find. I need updates on Breece Hall. I need updates
immediately.
On the injuries. AVT was immediately marked out, so there's potential for some serious injuries here. We just gotta keep pushing through. I'll say this. Another thing I want to say, great win for the coaching staff. This could have easily been a game where it falls apart quickly. They have the issue with the wide receiver. The quarterback comes out, doesn't look good. Defense is playing well, but a lot of penalties. Like that's a game that gets away from us in the past, and it's another notch on the belt for this coaching staff of like they can power through those situations. They can get the team locked in, and they can win a game. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and you're completely right. And this was a gritty win that wasn't like a Pittsburgh win or wasn't like a Cleveland win. It was, backup quarterback. Like you were saying, there's a lot of opportunities for this game to snowball from what happened in this week and the way that it started. But I mean, credit to the coaching staff and the defense for just keeping their focus, right? Like
pause. Salah on Breece Hall's knee injury. Initial diagnosis is not good. Salah
awesome.
indicated it's likely an ACL injury. It's likely that Breece Hall tore his ACL, but they're waiting for official word.
Thank you guys for listening.
Well, I mean, listen, there's like 3 more injuries I got to worry about here. So,
I mean, that kid, yeah, I mean, that's, for our, I think for the vast majority of us that want to see what the quarterback has, here we go. Buckle up because I love Michael Carter, but he is just not in a position right now where he could carry a team like Breece Hall can, which is wild to say 7 games into a season that a rookie running back carries a football team. But I mean, he can make plays. Maybe I'm, mistaken early on because maybe he does have that capability and we'll figure it out. But yeah, that hurts a lot with what they want to do and kind of the role that they were on.
Definitely. The initial thing that comes to mind to me is a Jeff Wilson trade. 49ers just traded for Christian McCaffrey. They got Elijah Mitchell coming back off the injured list. They got 15 running backs in that room.
Just trade for Christian McCaffrey.
I would like to trade for Christian McCaffrey, but I think a trade, given the situation where we are, Greg, and we have fun with it and everything, but given the situation where we are, we're 5-2 with 2 huge games coming up against real division opponents.
You can't trot Ty Johnson out there.
You just can't have Michael Carter and Ty Johnson out there. They have to make an improvement here. I would look out for that. I don't know. Obviously, that was the first thing that came to mind because it was a combination of the 49ers and I know they just got CMC and all that, but something has to be done there. I would look for that to be addressed in the next several days with the trade deadline coming up too.
This isn't one of those seasons where like we've seen in years past where these injuries happen and you kind of just oh, well, we'll see what the guys have. No, you're in legit
this is a playoff team.
Now. You need to figure it out and make a move immediately and fix those holes. There's no, we'll see what the second unit guy has, or we'll call this guy up from the practice squad. No, you need to get a guy whoever's there, whoever fits the system, whoever you can plug and play in there, get him on the roster.
Damn, that really sucks, man. Breece is so good. He had such a great start too. That 60-yard whatever touchdown run it was.
Sucks.
That's brutal. That's really brutal.
Yeah.
Where do you want to talk a little bit about the defense? I think they continue to show themselves week after week. I think DJ Reed is a legitimate. I think maybe I watch the Jets more than anyone, so I might be a little bit ridiculous, but DJ's playing at an all-pro level. Sauce is playing at an all-pro level.
You can't throw on these guys.
It's kind of crazy. I don't know. What did these receivers have today? I know it's Brett Rippon and whatever else, but Jerry Jeudy had 7 for 96, but
a lot of his shit was, it was that one big catch and run over the middle
the one big catch was pretty much it, right?
Yeah, and a lot of it was just underneath stuff, and he would get an extra 2-3 yards. So it was a lot of dink and dunk and just very minimal yards after catch. But when they got tested on the field, that one to Cortland Sutton that DJ Reed came back and deflected. Every time they tried Sauce down the field, whether the non-penalty calls or not, if they're not going to throw the flag, it's an incomplete pass.
Mhm.
So if you're going to keep testing Sauce downfield, he's handsy, he's grabby, but if the receivers are going to hand fight with him and they're not going to call it, then that's a pass breakup. So you could try these guys downfield, but you're not going to get a lot of success on that, which, that might be something that the Patriots are looking at too, is we're going to do these 3 strip drops, get the ball out, force them to tackle type shit.
Yeah, and I also think it's going to be, because if I remember correctly, now that I'm thinking about Judy, because I saw that 7 for 95, and I'm like, that seems like a lot more than I thought. But there was that 45-yard catch, and then a lot of it, I felt like they had him in motion, and he would lined up on like Eccles or Michael Carter or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of DJ, or it definitely wasn't a lot of Sauce. I don't think Sauce gave up a catch today.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, so still nothing here on AVT. That's kind of, I would argue more important than anything else. Right now,
as good as Brees is, it's impossible to replace a guy like AVT. You can replace some of the
he's literally played every position except for center.
You can replace some of the production that Brees has for as good as he's been in the first couple of weeks, but you can't replace a guy like AVT in the drop of a hat in the situation that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
a couple other things I wanted to bring up. I just saw I'm reading quotes in real time from the Saleh press conference as we're reacting here.
mm-hmm.
Denzel Mims played today. He had an excellent block on his on the Brees Hall touchdown. Actually, he killed the guy. He came out firing. He got called for another hold, but I thought that hold was pretty soft on him. Sorry, keep going.
He just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, I just don't get him.
Me either. I'm a little confused. I'm hoping for the best. Saleh said Denzel Mims is going to be a big part of it moving forward. He was happy with how he played, especially with his block on the Hall touchdown. So Denzel Mims is here to stay.
If he's engaged and he wants to be a part of okay, cool. Like, he's a super talented player. Like, we saw that in his first year. And if he's, maybe this is one of those wake up calls where, hey, Denzel, like, you wanted your shot, you wanted your playing time, you got handed a golden ticket here with the Elijah Moore situation. And sometimes that's what players need, right? Like, you forget about all the bad blood that, he's had, I guess, with his coaching staff over the last year or so. And you're, hey, Denzel, we need you. Let's go. And sometimes that puts guys in a good mental space and they start producing. But yeah, no, it was really cool to see him, kind of spring that run. But yeah, man, I mean, I think the most frustrating thing to me outside of the Zach stuff was just the pre-snap penalties. I mean, that's just, those are the most frustrating. The holdings or whatever, some of the legal context, I get it. It happens, but the pre-snap penalties are simply uncalled for. You're not going to beat, a New England or a Buffalo, or you're not going to beat any of these playoff teams if you consistently keep shooting yourself in the foot. And, Zach's 18-yard run, 10 yards back because of a hold. That Michael Carter huge run, 10 yards back because of a hold. Like, you can't keep getting behind and down in distance and expect to win. You can't, with the personnel that they have right now, you're not going to be playing in Denver, right? With Brett Rippon in there, and you can't win these 16-9 games against the Buffalo, right? Like, You're going to have to play mistake-free football, and the margin for error grows that much smaller against those much better teams. So it's something they got to clean up. I mean, it keeps, it's like bashing our heads up against the wall with this shit every week, but they have to clean it up. And it's going to come back to bite them in the ass in one of these bigger games, and they'll learn. And whether they adjust from that is on them. Yeah.
As you were talking there, I kind of smiled to myself because I can't believe how negatively we're talking about the Jets at 5-2.
At 5-2. Right.
It's pretty unbelievable. And I'm happy that we're like this. We needed this bad. We were very high. We were very, by the way, the Chiefs covered today, which is unbelievable. we were so high up, and like, I thought we were going to walk into this game and just beat the shit out of this team. And it looked like we were going to. Early in the game, it looked like we were just better. We were, again, their offense, their quarterback was a question mark throughout the game. Obviously, we had their corners on lock. We had their running game under control. Like, we were better than them 100%. The quarterback held us back early, and to give him some credit, you're right. Like, he has the big run that gets negated by a penalty. Braxton Berrios dropped a really big, important catch in a big spot. There was another drop too, I want to say. So it goes all the way around, and the fact that you could still find a way to win in these situations is what builds a winning football team. I don't care. Win ugly every week. I don't give a shit. I'm probably as mad at Zach as I've ever been right now because I just feel like we really needed him in that spot and he looked like shit. But we found a way to win, and that's what you need to do.
I was on the phone with my dad with this before. I'm not apologizing for being 5-2 whatsoever. Don't care how they won. They could have won 3-0. I wouldn't give it a shit. But yeah, I mean, this is probably. I'd have to say this is probably the Zach's worst game I think I've ever seen him play. I mean, the four
INT game was worse.
But this is close, man, because it wasn't just like, mind-boggling mistakes. It was just like, he's getting pressured a ton. I thought that was a big thing on it. But when you get to make the throw to Uzama, one of the throws to Mims where he threw it behind him, the throw to Garrett, like the list goes on and on and on. Like when you don't have a lot of opportunities to make throws, you have to take advantage of the ones where you do get the opportunities to have a clean pocket and make a good throw. And he just didn't do that today, which is super frustrating.
Do you think we'll see Elijah back next week now? I think hopefully cooler heads have prevailed and maybe we can get him back in the building because you know what this team needs right now? A wide receiver because Corey Davis, the update is his knee and it's not long-term as per Saleh.
So probably out next week.
AVT is an elbow and he'll be reevaluated tomorrow. So we got the thing that's interesting there is we got all the different levels. We got Brees we think he definitely has a ACL. We have Corey Davis not going to be long term, and then it's AVT being reevaluated tomorrow. So I'm not sure how to feel about AVT.
Yeah, I could see him probably missing next week, simply based off of what you just told me. That seems like he could probably go next week if it was like that scenario. It was a playoff game he could play, but I mean, I don't really see him playing next week.
Yeah, just a couple more. Yeah, it does suck. We really need him. A couple more things here. National media continues to be out for the Jets. Here's Michael David Smith, the managing editor of Pro Football Talk. The Jets have started Zach Wilson for 4 games and Joe Flacco for 3 games. Joe Flacco has 208 more passing yards and 4 more touchdowns than Wilson. Just a couple points I want to make there. The Jets are – what's Zach Wilson's record this season, Greg? I want to say it's 4-0.
I'd have to look it up.
I think it's 4-0, right? Is that right?
The podcast is falling apart with Jay not here, but he'd have that, I think, on hand.
Yeah, I think Zach Wilson's 4-0, and I want to say Joe Flacco was 1-2. So I think I'm okay with that, Michael David Smith. Thank you. I hope he probably plays fantasy football if I had to guess.
I'm getting to a point now where I want Zach to be so bad and the Jets to keep winning.
Me too.
All of these fucking people can just every week be like, well, the Jets are winning because in spite of this, and this. And we were like 11-4. Like I want, as much as I love Zach,
I want to beat the Bills. I want to beat the Bills, and I want Zach to have like 104 passing yards.
3 picks and we win like 17.
No picks. If you have interceptions, we're gonna lose. I want 104 passing yards and no interceptions and no turnovers and no touchdowns.
He's got like 40 completion percentage. He's got 110 passing yards. 63 of them are on a catch and run, which got stopped at the 1. Like I just want him to play such mediocre football and then to keep winning. That's the headspace I'm in right now because. When the Jets win games, everyone just looks for reasons to shit on them and not say fun things about them. Yeah. And I just want them to keep going that way.
I like being the team that everyone hates because we're not cool for fantasy football. That's fine by me. I think we can wrap it up. I think that pretty much sums it up for us. We're going to have an episode later this week. Patriots week. We have a guest coming, I believe.
Yeah, we do.
All right. We
have Pierre, FanDuel.
We got Bree coming on next week or this week. The Jets are 5-2. The key takeaway is the New York Jets are a 5-2 football team heading into what I would say is we keep saying this every week, and I hate repeating myself because I'm becoming self-conscious of it, but it's probably one of the bigger games we've played in 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah, at home.
Yeah.
Coming off of
you want to be a wild card team this year? You want to expel the demons? Beating the Dolphins was cool. Beat the Patriots. Beat Bill Belichick. Mac Jones, horrible. The Patriots suck. Like, we do not need to pretend that they're this good team because they had a couple good weeks. They're not a good team. We saw it in the beginning of the year. Win this game. We just won this game. We're 5-2. Zach Wilson needs to clean it up. Penalties to get cleaned up. We'll beat the Patriots this week, and then it's on to the Bills. Let's be a playoff team, Greg.
Yeah. The funny thing is, before we get, the Patriots do, the same shit the Jets have done in the past couple of years, where they win ugly and people are like, oh, gritty team. You know, this team's taking after Belichick. The Jets win 16-9, and people are just like, this team should be fucking relegated. Put them in college football. Put them in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I'm never going to apologize for wins. And if you're a Jets fan, you should never apologize for a win. Fuck everybody. The Jets are 5-2.
Yeah. Put that as a title, Jay.
The Jets are 5-2. Fuck everybody. That was just enough to suffer. We'll see you next time. Peace.